Immigration. What does the law say? Hello, this is Joseph Sodal. In our separation of powers, the legislative branch passes legislation, the executive branch enforces the law, and the judicial branch interprets the law, applying the law to the facts in a case. We have some overlap. The legislative branch passes legislation, but it's not yet law at that point. It becomes law when and if the president signs it into law. If the president vetoes it, then the legislative branch can make it law anyway by overriding the veto with a 2/3 plurality in each house. There is a certain overlap. Now, we also do have Article 2 courts. Article 2 of the Constitution refers to the executive branch. Various government departments have limited power to make some decisions after a hearing, from which there is always the right to appeal to a federal court in the judicial branch. Due process of law. What does the Constitution say about due process of law? Nor shall any person be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. The traditional examples of life, liberty, and property given in law classes is you're deprived of life if you've committed a crime for which you have been convicted and the court has decided that under the law you are to be executed. Loss of liberty can be prison, it can be house arrest. Loss of property can be a fine or other forfeiture. We need the due process of law. Where does that start in regard to immigration? It starts with a hearing within the Department of Homeland Security. Who has the ultimate responsibility then of due process of law? All three branches. The legislative branch has an obligation to legislate within the concept of due process of law. The executive branch has the responsibility to arrest, prosecute, and otherwise enforce the law within due process of law. The judicial branch has the responsibility to reach its decision with due process of law. With that, the president explicitly has the responsibility under the Constitution. He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed. So if there is reasonable suspicion that a person is here illegally, that person can be detained for a hearing. We need reasonable suspicion, or even better, probable cause, in order to take that action within due process of law. Those are two different things. We'll dig into at another time, but one is necessary, not selecting people at random. For to go to the immigration court within Article 2 of the Constitution, we need due process of law, so reasonable suspicion or probable cause. At the hearing, the person suspected of being here illegally has a right to present documentation that he or she is in fact here legally. This includes birth certificates for natural-born citizens, immigration papers for those here legally who have not yet become citizens, 5-year wait to apply, and other documentation from those granted asylum. And then there are those who are here legally on student visas, work visas, tourist visas, and so on. A very big umbrella. If under the umbrella, under due process of law, you get to stay. Or you can file an appeal to the federal court system if you feel that you did not have your rights, focusing here on due process of law. Definitely, there should be zero deportation without a hearing making the determination. Now, I know this sounds like you are guilty until you prove you are innocent, but that isn't the case, as this is not a criminal trial. There is no guilt or innocence. There is no guilty or not guilty. It is a hearing as to legal status, and you either have it or you don't. So it's up to you to prove that you have the legal status. As to prison, there is a statute providing for 6 months to 2 years in prison for illegal entry into the U.S. This treats it as a crime and is only imposed under due process of law by a federal court. This has rarely been used because if the objective is to deport someone who is here illegally, we work against that objective if we detain them in prison for an extended period of time with food, clothing, shelter, and medical care provided by the taxpayers. There are no circumstances where someone should be deported or imprisoned without due process of law. The legal citations are in the description, with thanks to the Cornell University Law School Library. I hope you found today's video informative and interesting, and if you did, please give us a like, subscribe, and click the notifications bell so you don't miss out on any of the new videos we'll have coming up. In the meantime, here are some videos that are available for you right now on this channel. Thank you for joining me today.